Ever feel like you have a lot on your plate? I bet you're juggling your fair share of things right now, including putting out fires and navigating the ups and downs of life on a daily basis. At times, it can feel impossible to experience true rest, let alone a day off from work. But God's desire is not that we live in a state of permanent exhaustion and experience burnout. His will is that we work diligently, yes, but also that we rest. In fact, one of the 10 commandments in the Old Testament is that we honor the Sabbath and keep it holy. In the New Testament, Jesus honored the Sabbath, and so did his followers. Hard work is godly, and it pleases the Lord, but so does our rest. In fact, from the very beginnings of creation, God modeled rest for us. He created for 6 days, and he rested on the seventh. Now, God didn't rest because he needed it. He rested because there was joy in it. For us, it's a little different. We rest because we need it, but God shows us that there's also joy for us in the rest. God isn't just giving us rest only to sustain us, but to treat us, to bless us, because he loves us. We see this in the teachings of Jesus. In Matthew 11, Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and what? I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." That's found in Matthew 11, 28 through 30. Listen, God is not an overly demanding parent or a bullying boss in our lives. He loves us and he gives us rest. Rest is a gift to be celebrated in our lives. We honor the Sabbath by choosing one day a week to rest from our work and find refreshing in God's presence and amongst family and friends. And when we practice the Sabbath, we're reminded that our identity is not in what we do or how we perform, but in God's love for us as his children. We're also reminded that God is our provider, and that when we rest from our work, we're trusting that God is working on our behalf, that it's not our hustle that ultimately pays the bills, but God's blessing and favor in our lives. And through the Sabbath, we get to experience the rest that our bodies, hearts, and minds actually need. We are replenished and strengthened for all that God's called us to. When we believe life is a marathon and not just a sprint, we honor the Sabbath. And our decision to rest is not a sign of weakness, but an investment in our strength. So, friend, will you honor the Sabbath each week this year? Will you trust God enough to step away from work and find rest and refreshment in him? May you honor the Sabbath and experience joy and delight in the rest.